everyone. Well, welcome. Tonight's SVPP webinar is called More Than Surviving, but Thriving, Practical Advice for Living the Best Life with Your Pets. And my name is Jessica Char. I'm here thanks to Silicon Valley Pet Project, who are our sponsors today and hosts today. And I have a co-host in the chat, Ashley, who's going to keep an eye on things and make sure that if you post any questions, I see them and hear them. And so if you have any questions, definitely call them out as we go, and I'll try to answer them in the moment if it's appropriate, or I'll hold them till the end and we'll have time for questions at the end as well. All right. And this webinar is being recorded, just so you all are aware, but it won't show your video on the recording. All right. So today we're going to do some introductions of me and also of this idea of enrichment. And then we're going to talk about using enrichment in a really real life applicable way, making the most of mealtime, expanding your pet's world, enrichment that includes both of you, fun things for both of you to do together, and then some tips for keeping up your enrichment in your real life, as well as question time. About me, again, my name is Jessica Char. I'm the owner and trainer of 2 pet behavior modification and training businesses, Canine Engineering and Feline Engineering, so dogs and cats. I'm a member of the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants and the Association of Professional Dog Trainers. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and a fear-free certified trainer and a certified separation anxiety trainer. So I'd love to hear who you got in your home. I know we have some dog people in the group. For everybody else just wants to throw into the chat, you dog people, cat people, rabbit people. I have a rabbit. You saw him on the last page. So that I can really tailor this. Do we have all dog people in the group, or do we have dog and cat people? All right, enrichment, the action of improving or enhancing the quality or value of something. So enrichment is taking your pet's life from bare bones to really thriving and wonderful. Enrichment addresses physical, mental, and emotional needs. This isn't just about one of these components, but all of them. It's about stimulating and interesting experiences more than just sitting on your bed all day. Not that sitting on the bed all day isn't a bad thing, or is a bad thing. Enrichment is about allowing for natural behaviors to occur, exercising brain and body, and really taking life from, again, the bare bones existence to something really meaningful. We know pets can live with very little, but they don't have to, and we shouldn't leave them with just what they need to survive. Why is enrichment important? Of course, because we want our pets to have the best possible life, but also because enrichment is a great tool for decreasing problem behaviors, improving physical health, providing an outlet for natural necessary behaviors that might otherwise find an outlet in an inappropriate way. Enrichment can increase confidence and really aid in our bonding with our pets. So the nitty-gritty of enrichment is all of these things, okay? Enrichment really is about all parts of life. So that can include things like health, exercise, security, being calm, being active. And today we're not going to hit on all of these topics. For example, we're not going to talk much about health because I'm not a vet, I'm not a grooming expert, I'm not a dog nutrition expert. But health and making sure your pet's health is addressed is part of an enriched, healthy life. So that includes nutrition, vet care, grooming, hygiene-related tasks. Safety is also part of enrichment, making sure your pet is literally not in danger in their life. We're not going to touch much on this other than making sure our enrichment is safe for our pets. But if your pet is living a life where they're putting themselves into dangerous situations or allowed to be in dangerous situations, their life isn't really enriched. Security is different from safety in that security is about how we feel about our safety, not our actual literal safety, but do we feel safe? So if your pet has fears or anxieties, then they're lacking in that security component. We're also not going to delve very deeply into this today. It's a little outside the scope to talk about how to deal with our pets' fears, but that is a component of enrichment, is making sure our pets feel good and safe in their home. We're going to touch very lightly on the idea of social interaction, but social interaction could be with you and your pet. It could be between your pet and other animals, whether of the same species or different. But again, something that's a positive in life, adding to their life. We know that social enrichment or social interaction doesn't always add to our pets' lives in the same way it doesn't always add to our life. There can be negative social interactions, so making sure we're really focused on positive social interactions. And then right at the end, we're going to touch very briefly on this idea of calming, having a chance and being able to relax in life is really important. But most of the time today, we're going to talk about species-specific needs. So foraging, hunting, instinctual behaviors that your pet needs. We're going to talk about what those are and how to provide outlets for those. And exercise. Physical exercise, of course, we know is an important part of our pets' lives, but also mental exercise. Working their brain, problem solving, thinking, learning, all of this. So that's the place where we're going to spend most of our time. And as we go through all of these ideas and we think about this all-encompassing idea of enrichment, I want us to always layer on this blanket of choice. Our pets benefit from having agency, choice, control. All these things are basically the same in their lives. So they need this way to feel enriched while also having control over their life. And that doesn't mean they get to do whatever they want, because that would probably not be a safe way of living. They probably would choose some options that might not be safe for them or for others around them. But including choice and agency in our enrichment choices really gives our pets room to live their best life. So enrichment basics. Let's talk about that idea of choice a little bit further. Choice is two things. One is the power to say no. So when we offer and we include enrichment in our pet's life, we're always letting them say like, nope, I'm actually not interested in that. I don't like it and I don't want to do that. And that being okay. Choice is also a level of control, and control doesn't have to be I dictate everything that happens to me and everything I do in life, but it could be control like I have a choice between these three items and I control where I'm going to go. So I have this buffet picture here, and I just think even though we might always gravitate toward the same item, the option of choice, the option of control over which item we have is still valuable to us, even if we're picking the same one over and over again. Novelty is important in enrichment. Enrichment isn't enriching if it's the same thing every single day. If our life is the same every single day, it's going to be lacking in some level in this enrichment category. So a little bit of novelty. Sustainability, I'm not so much talking about saving the planet, though I like sustainable choices there too, but sustainable in that you can keep doing it. So enrichment is a daily activity. It's a part of your life, your pet's life every day. And so you need to make choices that let you maintain that every day. So when you're thinking about what you want to add to your pet's life, make sure that it's something that feels like you can maintain it every single day. And then safety. We're going to touch briefly on safety, but always remembering safety. We want our pet to have choice. We might say, oh, they should choose where they want to go, and we shouldn't have them on a leash. Well, that wouldn't be safe. So choice is going to be limited within that safety things. Ashley, looks like we have a few people in the waiting room. If you grab those. All right. And thinking about choice and novelty, I always go back to this quote. Animals like novelty if they can choose to investigate it. They fear novelty if you shove it in their face. This is a quote from Temple Grandin. And she's someone who is very knowledgeable and experienced in reading what animals need and what they would do given the options. And so often it's not that what we're doing is something our pet doesn't want. It's that they don't have any control over it, so they don't want it. So for example, your pet might love that new bed, but if you pick them up and try to hold them in it, they're going to struggle to escape. So giving them always that option to say yes or no. All right, enrichment safety, touching on briefly, supervision is key. When you're giving new toys, watch that they're not destroying those toys, eating components of those toys, creating sharp edges, anything like that. Making sure you're choosing toys that are appropriate size and strength so that nothing is getting swallowed or, again, destroyed in a dangerous way. Talk to your vet. I'm going to talk about physical exercise. I'm going to talk about using food and maybe adding foods. Make sure that your vet is incorporated into those conversations. And if you are using food, or when you use your food as part of your enrichment, definitely you can make use of your pet's normal meals for these activities. You don't have to add more food into their diet. If you're using treats, I highly encourage you to break treats into tiny pieces. So you can see these two little pictures of a cat treat on the right and a dog treat on the left. These treats are all marketed as training treats, and you can see even then I'm breaking them into tiny pieces. Half an M&M, maybe a full-size M&M if I have a really big dog, but tiny pieces so that we're not adding too much extra food and junk food into the mix. And then adding any new food slowly in small quantities so we make sure that they're not affecting our dog's digestive tract or pet's digestive tracts. So, talking about food, let's talk about mealtime. I like to start with mealtime because all of us feed our pets. That's something you're already doing. You're not going to stop doing it. So it means that this is a very easy switch for most people and a very easy place to incorporate more enrichment. Food puzzles are an absolute amazing way to include enrichment for your pets in a very straightforward, sustainable way for you. This hits on the species-specific behaviors category that we talked about initially, so foraging and hunting for food, and it touches on the mental exercise. So problem solving, learning, working on things. So food puzzles, veterinary recommended way of feeding. This is becoming more and more true as more and more veterinarians understand the importance of foraging or hunting behaviors in food seeking for pets. They add enrichment without adding work for you. Yay. They can stimulate the natural hunting and foraging behaviors. Dogs are scavengers. They're used to kind of hunting around to see what they can find to eat. So this is a very easy thing for us to mimic in our homes. They can prolong the distraction of mealtime. The amount of time mealtime takes can get much longer, which can be healthier if you have a dog who eats too quickly, but can also be nice for if you need to get ready in the morning. You give your dog a food toy and not be bothered by them. If you need to work and not have your cat sitting on your laptop, maybe they have a food toy and they are working on that. It's also, these puzzles can actually build confidence. So you have a pet who may be unsure and now they're working on something, solving a puzzle, interacting with the world in this really fun, positive way. And it can be a great confidence builder as well as a calm creator. Once we're done working on our meal and we've put all this effort into it, maybe it's nap time, right? So choosing the best type of toy for your pet makes a huge difference in how your pet interacts with them. So I usually think of two main types of toys. Puzzles, the stationary and the moving. So a stationary puzzle stays still where the dog or the cat interacts with it in some way, maybe using their paws, maybe using their nose to flip things. And a moving puzzle typically rolls. Maybe it gets flipped around, but it moves around the house. So if you're worried about the noise in the mornings, stationary might be better. Some pets, however, aren't very good at manipulating small things and they like to just knock something and chase after it, so they're better with a moving puzzle. The challenge level is going to matter when it comes to your pet interacting with the puzzle. So finding the right challenge level. If you've tried puzzles in the past and your pet kind of pokes at it once and walks away, it might be that it was too hard and they didn't really understand how to solve it. Vice versa, if it's too easy, it might be kind of boring. Your pet will get through it too quickly and it won't benefit them in the same way. They won't get the same foraging. So something kind of in the middle takes a little effort, but isn't so hard that it's not worth it. And then homemade versus purchased. This is a place where Google food puzzles for and the species you have, and you'll have tons and tons of options. And you can make them go through your recycle bin right now. We'll talk briefly about that. You can purchase a whole variety of them. Definitely explore what makes the most sense for you and your pet and your budget. So a couple ideas for food puzzles. First off, just sniffing and searching. This is often the very basic type of food puzzle. So we have cat on the right, dog on the left. Then this particular toy puzzle is called a snuffle mat. That's sort of the brand name. So there's lots of variations on the brand name, but the idea is the dry food is just scattered through these little rugs, and the animal has to pick through and find the piece that they're looking for, each piece individually. This is Goose being super cute. So it's not much different than their food bowl, except that each piece has to be found. Pretty straightforward. Most pets can pick this up as the first level food toy. Occasionally we have a pet who's a little unsure of even this, and I might start them with just the food scattered on the floor. So they have to go from one piece to another and walk around slightly to get them used to the idea. We can also mimic this in the grass. We can take our food outside and just scatter it in the grass or in the mulch and let our pet pick through. So sniffing and searching, first tier, generally very easy, but still very, very valuable, very useful. So this is an example of a stationary toy, and this cat is using his paws to solve it. So you see him get in there and scoop out the dry food like a champ. Super, super cute. And then work on it. So each piece or each couple pieces, he's having to individually fish out of this toy. Obviously, this is a purchased toy, and he's going in for more. He's very good at this. A different example with a dog and a sort of a moving puzzle. He's using his nose, he's using his paws. I apologize, this video for whatever reason plays very poorly. But you can kind of see him nudging everything around. Super cute. This is an example of a homemade food puzzle. So I pulled out this container from my recycle bin, I made sure it was clean, and I put some food pellets in it. This is my rabbit. And it was a little too easy. This container has a lot of holes in it already, so I just was using the holes that the container had. So I crumpled paper in it to make it a little harder, to make the food more difficult to get out. And you can see he immediately understands that things I give him are food, so he's immediately working on it, trying to make the food fall out. He's a food puzzle champion for sure. So that would just be an example of a homemade puzzle using things out of the recycle bin. Again, choosing something that's appropriate for the size of the pet and the strength of the pet, and supervising if we're using anything homemade especially. All right, so you're sold. Food puzzles are a great idea. You're going to go out and grab a couple options. You're going to get into your recycle bin and you're going to make them. How do we start a pet off so they're going to be really successful? First of all, number one mistake I see people make is they take a food puzzle and they put a few treats in it and they give it to their pet to just see. What do you think of this? And what happens is those few pieces of food don't fall out. The last few pieces are the hardest pieces to get out of the toy. So it takes a bit for them to fall out. The pet pokes at the toy for a few minutes, gets bored, moves away. We never use it again. So instead, you're going to start with a food puzzle that is so full that the food is just falling out instantly. You're going to put food around the edges of the toy. So basically, you want your pet to first learn when they see that item, it means food. And once they make that connection, then they can work on it and learn that they need to put some effort into that project. If you have any holes that can be, the sizes can be changed, make sure they're giant, as big as possible. If you're cutting holes, cut bigger holes, make sure it's really easy for the food to fall out. And then don't leave empty puzzles sitting around. When your pet goes to interact with the puzzle, there should be food to be earned initially. So when I say easy, that's easy to fall out, I'm really talking about truly easy. So I just toss some food in this and I handed it to my pet and they knock all the food out and it's right there. Now this is not much of a puzzle, right? but I'm creating the association between this thing and food. And that is the number one thing you have to start with, because otherwise your pet isn't going to spend 10 minutes getting the food out if they don't realize that there's food to be had. Once we kind of have this quick reaction, like, oh, that thing equals food, great, food is coming, then we can make it more challenging. We can get new puzzles. We get harder puzzles, things that are harder to roll. There are lots of websites out there that are great for ranking how hard a puzzle is. Those of you with cats, foodpuzzlesforcats.com, great site. Those of you with dogs, honestly, just Google food puzzles for dogs, and almost everybody has written something about food puzzles for dogs. So put one puzzle inside of another. Put a puzzle inside of a box so that your pet has to get it out of the box first. Add small things inside of a hollow food puzzle, like you saw me do with the plastic container for the rabbit, and it had the paper in it. Add things inside to make the food fall out more difficult to get out. Hide the puzzles around your house, so your pet not only has to solve the puzzle, but first they have to find the puzzle. There's a little diagram here. For example, those of you who have been using Kongs or who are considering using Kongs, this is literally from the Kong website, where they have lots of recipes. There's lots of tutorials for stuffing Kongs online, but the idea is if you're stuffing a food toy, first you stuff it very lightly, like you saw in that video. Everything just falls out. Cool, this equals food, great. And then you stuff it a little harder, and then you stuff it a little tighter, and then you add sticky stuff that makes it hard for the things to fall out. And then you pack, more sticky stuff, and then maybe sticky stuff that's frozen, and slowly build up until you have a toy that lasts for a while, but that your pet works all the way through. They should work until the last piece of food comes out, roughly. And that way, you can feed normal meals in there and know your pet is getting everything that they need. Other food games, if food puzzles aren't right for your pet, you need a little slower start, or if you just want more activities, move your pet's bowl around. Move it into a different location. If you have a cat, move it onto the cat tree, or different locations. Split the meal into multiple bowls. Even multiple bowls in the same room can get a pet who's not used to it, used to the idea of this bowl, oh, and I'm gonna go over here and eat more, I'm gonna go over here and eat more. And then we can slowly spread them out, and then now we have a pet who's like, oh, I'm hunting for my food, even just that little bit. Hide your food and treats around the house or outside. Teaching your pet to go search for that. Create a puzzle box full of toys, blankets, towels, food puzzles, food, just all mixed in, so your pet has to tear everything up and dig it all out. The Find It game, again, a hidden treat or even just a tossed treat that your pet runs to grab, comes back, and then you toss another one. Different or unusual foods for taste test. Lots of fruit and vegetables are appropriate for dogs, and cats might enjoy some very unusual things you wouldn't expect. A lot of cats like olives, green olives, marshmallows, things that you might not think to give to your cat. And for dogs, fruits and vegetables, blueberries, carrots are super popular, green beans, anything like that. So just give your pet a little bit and see if they're interested, or if they go, no, I thought I wanted that food, but I was wrong. It's still an enriching experience for them. If you're worried about these games leading to a pet who hunts constantly for food, you can use a cue to say, go search. Your pet searches for their food, and then you might say, all done, no more, something like that, to kind of cue them. And I wouldn't hide food someplace you won't want your pet to be. So we're not hiding food on our counter, encouraging our pet to find that food, but then expecting them not to go looking for other food, right? All right. So what about other ways beyond food to expand our pet's world? First off, let's talk about the senses. Sensory enrichment is a form of mental exercise. It's a form of enrichment that's really easy for us to make use of when we start thinking about that. So for example, we can think about the sights and sounds of our pet's world and how we can add to them, add a little novelty into their world. Pet TV is a super common one. So we've got this kitty watching some pet TV here. It is literally a video of birds, and these things are created for cats to watch. Cats and dogs can watch TV, especially new TVs. Older TVs are harder for them to watch, but at this point, most TVs have a frame rate that's totally available for our pets to watch. So you see Steve Irwin here watching the birds, watching the world, watching from inside, watching out, setting up perches and windows for cats to watch out, even maybe putting a bird feeder outside the window to encourage the birds, or at night turning a light on so the little bugs come by and your cat can sit and watch. If you're out, taking your pet outside into the world, just sitting and watching the world go past can be a really enjoyable experience. Some dogs enjoy just watching ducks in the distance. I don't know why I chose ducks, animals at a safe distance where they're not trying to eat the wildlife, but just enjoying watching it happen. They might also enjoy just sitting at the park and watching people go past. Music, audiobooks, bird noises, sounds that we can just incorporate into our daily life. Again, being aware that our pets' senses are different from ours, so I'm not blasting music as loud as I can and then leaving for 6 hours. I might play a different type of music in one room and watch to see, does my dog leave? Does my dog get out of here? If I put on some bird noises, does my cat notice at all, or are they totally oblivious to that? These things can be enrichment. They can also be not interesting at all. That's why you get to try things. Enrichment for the senses, smell and taste. Sometimes a little hard to separate, right? Smell and taste. For cats, you're probably familiar with catnip, but there's more. Honeysuckle, valerian, silvervine, these are all kind of sensory enrichment tools, scent enrichment tools. Cats can also have cut flowers of a variety of types, including roses, live catnip, catgrass, things to chew on, things to smell, things to taste. Dogs, same thing. Pet safe plants, chewing on bones and whatever your dog, textures your dog enjoys chewing on. Novel foods we talk a little bit about. Things from outside, especially if you have an indoor cat, you might bring things from outside to experience. Leaves, branches, pine cones can be really fun to bat around and chase. Essential oils can be scent enrichment. With caution, our pets are more sensitive to these oils than we are, and some can have toxic properties. So making sure you're choosing oils that are appropriate. Lavender, for example, is typically a safe choice. Dilute it further than you would for yourself. And I'm not spraying these things on my pet. I'm not putting scent on them for them to enjoy. I'm putting scent on, say, a towel and saying, oh, are you interested in this? Again, choice. They can come or go from that item. Maybe I put some scent on a toy that I'm playing with my dog. You can buy prey scents online. And so you can make a toy smell like some sort of bird or fox, and see if your dog is interested in that, deer, if that makes them more excited about the thing or just wanting to sniff it, or if they're like, ooh, that's kind of gross. I'm an indoor animal, thank you. Just novelty in what they're experiencing. Exploring and moving. So for cats, vertical space, boxes and bags. When you throw a box out on the ground and your cat goes and sits in it, that's enrichment. Oh, that's convenient. Scratching is also enrichment for cats. It's a necessary part of their natural behaviors. For dogs, you might hide their toys. You might create digging opportunities for them, and even the opportunity to destroy things, to tear apart boxes or to tear apart old pieces of fabric. That can be a natural instinctual behavior for a dog, to rip and just dissect. If you don't have a yard for digging, you can create digging opportunities in your home. So Cooper here has a digging spot in the shower with these blankets. There's some treats and toys in there, and when he needs help, he gets it. So making sure that your pets have those opportunities for these really important instinctual behaviors, whether that's to get up off the ground and scratch like a cat, or to dig and destroy like a dog. Sniffing, also in that category. And then there's just a lot of ways to think about how we can affect our pet's world. We can blow bubbles that they can watch or chase. We can create a spot for them to play in the water. We can even offer them a heating or cooling pad that creates a different temperature option for them. Choice. Would they like to lay somewhere cooler or not? Would they like to lay somewhere warmer or not? Obstacle courses, we can either train them to go over them, or we can just kind of create obstacles in the house and let our pet navigate them. Different textures. Parkour, just like human parkour, but usually with less flipping, jumping on things and balancing on things, right? Just kind of finding new ways to go about the world. And then of course, just like for us, we can get apps for our pets. There are actually several apps for cats, and they're free, and it's really cute to watch. So this one in the video is the Friskies cat app. There's advertising, but it's free, and the cats don't mind the advertising. So pretty fun and cute. Now some enrichment for both of you. So when you have some time to spend with your pet, what's the best way of spending that time? Games with dogs. We're thinking about the hunt sequence of our dogs. And every dog has kind of favorite parts of this sequence. Some dogs like to track and stalk. They like to sniff. They like to search. They have to keep their nose to the ground. They like to watch the world. Some dogs like to chase moving things. So this might be fetch or a flirt pole. If you're unfamiliar with a flirt pole, it's a long solid stick with a rope and then a toy at the end. And you move it like a giant cat toy. And the dog chases the toy at the end and you move it around. If your dog prefers the bite and shake part, that's tug. Tug is a great game, and you can play it really anywhere, whereas fetch, you might need some space to play. Tug is easy to play in a small space. And then if your dog prefers to chew and destroy, then having something to chew, maybe you throw the toy and they grab the toy and they just chew on the toy. That's the part of the game they find reinforcing, they find rewarding. That's totally fine. Maybe we set up our games so that they can enjoy that part of the grab and the chew. And maybe they like to dissect out their toys, so we buy them toys that are appropriate to do that with. We buy toys that don't have squeakers, and we remove the squeaker and we just let our dog tear it apart. I know people who restuff. Once the toy is torn apart a little bit, they restuff it and let the dog do it again. You probably don't want to spend tons of money on those toys, but it's still a really fun game. With dogs, we're also thinking about this experience of going for a walk. Most of us walk our dogs, often more than once a day. And we can really use that walk in a great, enriching kind of way. Walks typically aren't enough physical exercise for our dogs unless we have senior dogs or we have very small dogs that we can kind of get going at a good pace. Otherwise, walks are more about enrichment and mental exercise and the species-specific behavior of sniffing. So think about the sniff walk, the sniffari. The term that's becoming very popular now is the decompression walk. Going for a walk that just invites us to roll our shoulders back, take a deep breath, and be present. Probably good for us just as much as for our dogs. So a walk for your dog is about sniffing. You might give them some freedom with a long line, and really you're giving them the choice to go where they want. Even if you don't have the option to just wander everywhere, you might approach a corner and kind of go, hey, left or right? Hey, Fido, what do you think? Do you have a preference today? And then letting your dog make that decision, as long as it's safe, of course. We know we can't give them full freedom, but we can give them a little bit of freedom possible whenever possible. For cats, same idea with the play, mimicking the hunt. Typically with cats, we go ahead and mimic the entire sequence. Our dogs are often bred to really match one part of the sequence. So we have hound dogs or herding dogs who are really good at sniffing and following and stalking. And we have retrievers who chase. And we have terriers who are good at the bite and shake part. Cats typically have the whole sequence, so we'll use a toy to mimic them watching the toy and then pouncing and chasing the toy, grabbing the toy, and biting it, kicking it, and then eating. They're not going to eat the toy. They're going to eat some food you give them after you play with them. So this is what really sets cats up for success, is play and then food. This first video, you'll see this is really a common way I see people try to play with their cat. is sort of, here's a toy, here, you want it, here. And this cat is like, not at all interested. So I want to say this is not a cat who doesn't like playing. This is a cat who isn't being invited to play in a way that makes sense to him. Instead, make that toy move like prey. Like in this video, we have this toy that's moving in the air. It's not moving right at the cat. It's moving back and forth past the cat. It's moving at different levels, up and then lower down, away, past, and we have a cat that's very engaged. Fortunately, I don't have the same cat doing both, but kind of get the idea that engaging the cat as though the cat is hunting. That's what play is. Other experiences that are important for cats. Great enrichment for an indoor cat is a chance to go outside. Cats are much safer, just like dogs, when we don't leave them outside unattended. We are supervising them. We don't have dogs running loose in the neighborhood. It's probably, we need to consider that the cats would be safer indoors as well, but they can have outdoor experiences. So first one we touched on briefly with the smell, taste ideas, which is bring a little outside in. Bring a pine cone inside, bring a branch inside. Make sure you know what you're bringing inside so it's safe for your cat, but it is a great experience for them to kind of sniff and something new. Build an outdoor space. This might be a little bit too much for some people, and if you have an apartment or a smaller space, you might not be able to do this, but if you can, creating a little outside space that lets your cat experience that. Train them to walk on a leash, just like a dog. It's completely doable. And many cats enjoy the opportunity to go out and explore just like dogs do. And then finally, games that you can do together. Training is a great mental exercise. It's a tool for bonding, and you don't have to train some huge repertoire of great behaviors. You can do a couple basic obedience things, like a sit or a come. You might go for some useful skills like walking on leash or going to a particular place. Being able to send your pet to their spot and having them then stay there is really useful if you're trying to open the door when a delivery person comes, or if you're bringing in the groceries, or if you're cooking dinner and you don't want them helping, you can send them to their spot. This is true for cats and dogs. And then of course, fun tricks. Please don't underestimate how useful trick training can be. It is truly great enrichment. It asks the pet to use their brain, to connect with you, and it gives the pet some level of control as well. When we train using positive reinforcement, our pets can choose to engage or not. And when they choose to engage, they're earning something valuable to them, a reward. And so it's confidence inspiring, it's mental exercise, it's enrichment in so many ways. So most people have seen this video from me because I can't help but show it. But this is my very favorite trick to train, is a little high five. And truly all the species can learn it. 2 out of 3 of these animals were very fearful animals. The cat and the dog were both very fearful. And this little trick was key to bringing them out of their shell and building their confidence and interacting with me and other strangers. All right, so finally, hopefully you've got some great ideas, and I really want you to take something away from this and think, what am I going to do in my real life? What am I actually going to do and maintain and offer to my pet? First off, in real life, feel free to pair enrichment with management. Management is about preventing problem behaviors. So if you have a problem behavior or you're concerned that your enrichment might trigger a problem behavior, use the management to make it easier. For example, if you have multiple dogs in your home and you want to start doing more food puzzles or more chew opportunities, you can use management to separate the 2 dogs into separate spaces to work on their food puzzles so that you don't have conflict over the food. You don't even have to, you might not even think, I know I'm going to have issues. You're like, I don't know, I might have issues. I'm just not going to find out. I'm going to separate them. Another way of using management along with enrichment would be if I was, say, doing a Zoom meeting and I wanted to make sure that my young dog was at least somewhat calm during my meeting. I'd give them a really great stuffed Kong, our favorite food puzzle, and I would tether them to a place where they couldn't jump in my lap in the middle of the meeting. So they have something to do and they're also prevented from doing what I don't want them to do. Make sure management is something that you've introduced to your pet. So the first time I tether my dog next to me at my desk is not going to be during a meeting. I'm going to give them a chance to get used to the idea first. And then I'm going to make sure I'm really pairing enrichment with those times that my pet might have some problem behaviors or might be a little naughty, and being proactive in that rather than waiting for them to be all up on me during my meeting or when I'm trying to take a nap or when the kids are trying to take a nap. I'm going to say, oh, I'd really like to take a break and I'm going to give you this toy over here. All right, this pup here is in her crate working on her Kong because she is a laundry stealer. So enrichment and management paired together so the chores can get done. Finally, I want to bring up this idea of calming. Calming and being calm, being able to relax is part of enrichment as well. It's part of an enriched life is that you can take a break and relax. So make sure that all of your enrichment isn't focused on high energy, exciting, running, play. You might think you want to tire your pet out, but you also need to balance that with calm and quiet so that they can relax, both learn to relax more and also take that time to recharge. Help your pet go from one activity to another. If you throw the ball 60 times and your dog runs after it 60 times and you're like, cool, you're done meeting time, your dog might be not prepared for that and they might sit there during your meeting asking for the 61st throw of the ball the whole time. Whereas if you wind them down and give them another quieter activity, they might be more able to relax. And finally, please make sure your pet is getting enough rest. If you find that your pet's behavior gets worse at the end of the day, it might be that they're just tired from the day. A lot of people are having this experience now that we're working from home because the pet isn't sleeping during the day. And that added stimulation is actually causing trouble for them. The pet is overtired and kind of melting down by the end of the day. So exercise is important, but balancing that out with enough rest. Overcoming roadblocks. So these are the kind of things that pop up when I talk about enrichment. People are like, oh, but I don't know if I have money to pay for all these things my pet needs. I highly encourage you not to go rush out to buy food puzzles if you're concerned about money in any way, or if you're not sure what your pet likes, make a few things. Go online and search for homemade food puzzles, and you'll find tons of options. The toilet paper cardboard roll or paper towel cardboard thing, plastic water bottles, plastic containers out of your recycling. There's just so many options. So definitely make a few things, see what your pet likes. And then if you want to buy something, you know they're likely to like it. Instead of constantly buying something new to maintain the novelty, you can rotate your pet's favorite things. So if they have 5 favorite toys, put 3 or 4 of them away and have them play with one. And the next day, take that away and give them another one. And by the time you've rotated through, they've kind of forgotten about that first one. And that's why you can create novelty without and change and variation without having to constantly buy something new every day. Go ahead and use the world. Use what the world provides as enrichment. Go for a walk. Go for, go explore a new place. Change up your own house. Say like, oh, like I'm gonna move the beds around and let you sit in a new window. And that can create some enrichment, some novelty. And of course, if money is a factor, think about how you can spend some time with your pet. Give them a massage, give them a cuddle, give them a longer walk, give them a training session, use their regular food in a creative way so that you're not needing to buy new things. The one in the middle comes up a little more often, especially where I am in the Bay Area, not enough time. So I say prep ahead, especially your food puzzles. Your food puzzles can be prepped ahead, just maybe like you're doing your meal prep for your family, or maybe like you wish you were doing your meal prep for your family. Set aside a portion of your freezer for a bunch of food puzzles that you've prepared and stashed in there. And when you need one, or when it's food time, pull them out. You can also, food puzzles are a really easy switch. So instead of pouring the food into the bowl, pour the food into the food puzzle. Same amount of time. Really looking for things that don't add more work to your life. So a little extra choice might mean 2 beds instead of 1. No extra time required. Maybe you're maximizing the time you do have. So you have not very much time during the week, but on the weekend you have a little extra time. Maybe you dedicate it to driving your pet to a new park and walking in a new space and giving them that little extra time then. And of course, you have the option of spending money instead of time. So buy a wider variety of food puzzles. So there's more variety there. Buy some new scent options that you can let your pet sniff. Buy some time at doggy daycare if your dog enjoys being with other pets. Buy a pet sitter's time to come in the middle of the day and spend some time with your pet, or a dog walker or a pet sitter coming in for a little bit of time to play with your pet or hang out with them. Totally okay to spend money to solve your problems if you have the money and not the time. And then the one on the end there, my pet isn't interested in the enrichment. So again, enrichment is all of life. So if they're not interested in one piece of enrichment, you might have other places you can go. First off, is your pet not interested because there's something kind of more important to them that's going on? Their health isn't right, or they have some fears that need to be addressed. They can't enjoy enrichment because they're so busy being scared of another pet in the house, or of the wind outside, noise outside, or whatever. So really addressing those things first. That's not a separate issue. It's all part of the same thing. Adjusting. I need to be able to read my slide. I apologize. Adjusting the challenge. So your pet isn't interested. Possibly it's too hard for them. The challenge is too great. And they try it briefly, it doesn't work out, and they just want to move on. So making it easier, playing around with the type of challenge you're offering, or making it harder, potentially. It's a little boring, so they're not really engaging much with it. You can engage with your pet. So your pet is sort of, you put some scent enrichment on a toy and you put it down. Your pet is like, yeah, what? Is this interesting? And then you pick it up and you go, yeah, I think it's interesting. And they go, yeah, you're right. It is interesting. So moving the toys, playing with the toys with them, looking at and working on the food puzzle with them to kind of learn that it's a fun thing to do. And then just try something different. If your pet's like, yeah, I actually don't care about the music you're playing, then maybe music isn't enriching for them. And instead you're going to try some audiobooks, or you'll try some noises of other animals and sort of see, is your pet interested in that? Or you'll skip that and you'll try a food taste test. Maybe you try one type of food puzzle and you need to try a different type. You tried a moving food puzzle and you need to try stationary, vice versa. And you can even keep those things and hold them back and try them a little later. Maybe your pet just wasn't ready for that challenge, or they weren't ready for that particular game. And in another week or another couple weeks, they'll be ready. Especially if you have a young animal who's still developing, their preferences are going to change. So definitely thinking about that. So let's just sum up those key points. Enrichment is about addressing all parts of life. So health, safety, sense of security, calm, the social interactions your pet is involved in, the species-specific needs they have, hunting, foraging, instinctual behaviors, digging, sniffing, scratching, and then exercise, physical exercise that's appropriate for them, mental exercise that uses their brain and asks them to problem solve and to learn new things. The whole time we're really making sure they're safe. So we're not allowing themselves to put them in, to be put into dangerous situations. We're not giving them things that won't be safe for them. And once safety is accomplished, then as much choice as possible. So do you want to do this activity? Yes or no? You have the option, I will listen if you say no, and I'll let you do something else. For example, sometimes I think, oh, dogs need to go to the dog park to get that social interaction, which is part of enrichment. And our dogs go to the dog park and they stand by the door. and they just like, or they stand glued to us and they just like look around and they clearly are, they're saying no. That isn't enrichment for them. They would like to say no and to leave that and look for enrichment in some other way. Adding novelty, mixing it up, even if they had that toy last week, if they go without it for a week and then they get it again, it's novelty again. So mixing up their days a little bit and making sure it's something that's sustainable for you to maintain. I don't want this to be something that is a huge chore that you can never leave your dog alone because you need to provide enrichment. Looking for ways to drop in easy switches like food puzzles. Easy things like a minute of the faucet dripping so this kitten can play with it is enrichment. And even I can take a minute out of my day to let my water drip. I can't do it forever, but that gives him an activity and leaves him a little happier at the end of the day. Thank y'all for watching. It's been a pleasure and even on time. So I just want to say thank you to Silicon Valley Pet Project. Please, please go check out their website. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Really great organization doing great work. And then these are my businesses on the right side here. So Canine Engineering is the dog side, Feline Engineering is the cat side. Both websites have some educational material, and Feline Engineering has a pretty extensive blog as well. So I hope there's something of interest there. If you want to learn more about these topics, you can definitely go check out the websites or the Facebook and Instagram pages. I offer also one-on-one behavior consultations for both cats and dogs. So if you have specific problems or more in-depth problems that you would like some support on, please feel free to reach out. And then I know that I've seen some questions. Yes, so there will be a recording that you'll be able to watch, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing. I misspoke like 20 times during this, so it's not the best recording that I've ever done, but it will be available to you. So please look for that and check it out. And Ashley has mentioned that SVPP has volunteered making snuffle mats and selling them. So that's amazing. Definitely a snuffle mat is a pretty great tool. It's, I'd say, the first level in introducing food puzzles for most pets. So if you've never tried it, a snuffle mat might be a great place to start. Definitely go online and check out all the different options. Any other questions for me? Or comments? Anyone want to tell me how amazing their pet is? They're all amazing, I know. All right. Well, it looks like we're done then. So again, this is me. This is Silicon Valley Pet Project. If you had a great experience, definitely let me know, let them know, and we will do more of this in the future. If there's topics you're interested in learning more about, let us know. We'll set that up. No, I don't send out the slides, but I will send out the recording. Yeah, Elizabeth. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Oh, Elizabeth, you'd like to? Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. And you're more than welcome to send the recording to your clients or anyone you think might benefit from it. You know, let's pass it around. Let's get the word out there. I think that there's a lot of room for these ideas to help with our own pets and the pets that we care for in the world. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Stay safe out there / indoors these days, and I will see you at the next one. Bye.